Good evening, everybody. I'm at my desk. Jedediah is on his chair, watching that I'm doing all the work, and I'm taking an opportunity to visit you in your homes again. Thank you for welcoming me. And as we get together tonight, it's the 25th of June. It's 6 months away from Christmas. We've passed the longest night of the year, but in front of us is a mountain. Today we've heard that we've had the greatest number of infections yet, 5,000 infections in one day, that the number of infections in South Africa is up to 111,000. And so there's for us the very sobering reality that even though the hard lockdown has ended and things are starting to open up, there are still serious challenges in front of us. And tonight, my pastor's heart is just heavy as I've been trying to phone families every day. I phone a couple of families and just touch base and try and hear how people are. And I'm experiencing in myself and hearing in others a very similar thing, and that is a level of deep tiredness and a sense of at the moment everything feels so pressurized and so demanding. And to some extent that's just a normal thing, that once everything got going again, everybody wants to just get back to normality, as we want to call it. But nothing's normal, is it? And yet our bosses are asking for reports, our lecturers are setting tests, and they haven't quite got the hang of the online thing yet, and so the tests are hard and difficult, and all across, I'm hearing people feeling just overwhelmed. That's the word that I'm hearing. Overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by the media, overwhelmed by the demands, overwhelmed by the needs that are out there, just overwhelmed. And I'm just very aware that we have a long way to go. And so tonight, my message to you really is one of encouragement. One to say, hang in there, let's keep going. God is still with us. And to just include our children tonight, a couple of weeks ago, I showed the children some of the things that are on my desk, and there wasn't time for me to look at everything. And so tonight I have a few more items, and boys and girls, I hope you enjoy seeing them, but moms and dads, I hope you also see why I keep these things at my desk and how they speak to us in the times that we feel overwhelmed. So the first is a little key ring made by the leather business that Norman Siebert has, and Norman sent this to me from the Western Cape. And then second is I have this beautiful wood cut from Uncle Peter, and Peter cut this for me last year at Easter time. And it's a reminder of the key events of the Easter story, and reminds me that when we're going through difficult times, Jesus has been there. And then this is a painting by Auntie Kay, who painted this for me because she heard my story about eagles and how eagles always come up in my life at important moments, and how I see eagles at important times. And it reminds me of that verse, that those that wait upon the Lord, those that hope in the Lord, will renew their strength and mount up on wings like eagles. And this time where many of us are feeling overwhelmed, I want to just call us back to some of the basics. And these are basics that in this last week, I'm guilty of neglecting in my own life, and I'm paying the price for that. Basics like getting enough sleep, making sure that I get exercise, that I get out into the sunshine a little bit, that I keep the balance of my life working. Those principles I've neglected because the emails have been coming in, and as the denomination is starting to pick up steam, and I did a funeral this week for somebody outside of the congregation, and as all these little things creep in, I've realized that there are tons of things that I could do, but I need to focus on the things that I should do. And if I'm going to get to the end of the year with faith and hope and love intact, and with myself intact, I'm going to need to pace myself in this marathon. And as we pace ourselves, as I've mulled over this and prayed about it, and as I've thought about all of you in the congregation and listened to some of your stories and some of the circumstances that you're facing, I'm very aware that we're going to need as much help as we can get. And so I want to offer 4 thoughts tonight, just very, very briefly. And the first is, it's vital that we draw boundaries, especially when you're working from home. And if you're not used to working from home, then work starts spilling into every part of your day. And I want to encourage you, draw boundaries. Pick a starting time. Set aside a lunch break. Set an end to your daytime. And make sure that you have a sense of when work is done and when your family time or your personal time begins. These boundaries are so vitally important. And it means we have to learn to use the word no. No, I'm not going to do that now. I'll do that tomorrow. Secondly, we've got to be kind to ourselves and to others. The reality is that everything is changing all the time. One week, everybody's saying, oh, this virus isn't so bad. We'll get through it. The next week, everybody's saying, oh, my goodness, the infection numbers are higher than we thought, and we're going to have to prepare for. And it's changing all the time. One moment, schools are going back. Other moment, we're talking about schools closing again. The old deadlines, the old way of doing things isn't going to work. We're going to have to be kind to ourselves and recognize that we're working in a vastly changed reality. I'm hearing how many are experiencing harsh demands for reports or assignments and things like that. And I think we really have to make sure that we're kind. I'm not saying that we don't get the work done. I'm not saying that we don't get our economy going. But let's make sure that we're kind to ourselves and kind to others. Thirdly, let's look after ourselves, body, soul, mind, and spirit. We need to look after ourselves. And this week, I've been guilty of neglecting the exercise, neglecting the boundaries, not having enough personal time, spending too much time in front of my computer. And one pays a price for that. Let's look after ourselves. And finally, let's draw near to God. Let's draw near to God. He is the only one who can see us through these times. Now, James, the apostle writer, at least the epistle writer in the New Testament, James was the brother of Jesus. He wasn't an apostle, but he was the brother of Jesus. He wrote to the early church. And he says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. And perseverance must finish its course so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, they should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to them. But when they ask, they must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like the wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. God's beautiful promise when the storm is blowing is that he will give us wisdom, that he will see us through. And in these times, I want to urge you, encourage you, stay close to God. Be kind to yourself. Look after yourself. Look after your soul. And as you do, God will give us the strength, the courage, the grace that we need to make a difference. Now, I don't want this to be too long, and so I'm going to end there. But folks, please hear my heart. I'm listening to you. I'm hearing from you. I can see the overwhelm. I can see the overstretch. Let's look after ourselves. Let's be kind. I also want to remind you, please remember, as I've reminded us numerous times, let's remember the poor, let's remember the needy. Let's make a difference wherever we can. Make those donations. Reach out wherever you can. And remember that the neighbor who's hungry might be right next door to you. So keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. Make a difference where you can. And may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God the Father, and the fellowship of His Spirit be with us and remain with us, now and forevermore. Amen.